And on the day the wrongdoer will bite his hands in regret and say, I wish I had taken the way of the messenger. Woe be on me, I wish I had not taken that one person as a friend. He led me away from the remembrance of Allah after he had come to me, and ever the Satan is a deceiver to the man. To hasten the arrival of our awaited Savior, please recite a loud salawat. One of the most amazing gifts and joys that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us in this life is the gift of friendship, having friends. However, with that comes a big responsibility. As we have seen the theme throughout the past 2 nights, each and every one of us have a responsibility to choose the right path. You can have good friends and you can have bad friends. The ability for us to change our lives sometimes is depending on having that one great friend. That one great friend that will help us with our problems, that lends us his ear, that listens to us, that supports us, that gives us a new perspective on life, that helps us to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you look at the children, I've seen this in my own daughter, there is a major shift with when you have the right friends around you. When she got into high school, she found that one friend who is devout to school and to education and to homework. All of a sudden you see what happens, the marks go up, the homework is on time, she wants to do more homework because she has that support network from her friends. It is something that we see constantly. On the other side, if you have somebody who's disinterested, they will remove you. If you're interested in school, if you're interested in sports, and they're interested in something else, they can remove you away and guide you away from that. And that is probably the simplest example that I can give you. Unfortunately, especially in the Western world, what we see is sometimes this gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given some people, it takes them down the wrong path and a dark path. For example, I saw a study in the United Kingdom where they did a poll and 5 million people said they have no true friend. Somebody they can rely on, somebody that they can talk about their problems with, somebody that when they sit with they can be what? Truly joyful. We all have those friends that you know that you look forward to them, that you want to see them every single day, and when you sit with them you are happy, you are in a joyous mode, and if you lose them you miss them. And this is the important part. So having this blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is truly one of the best gifts Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us. However, we have to ensure that the friends that we keep really are not a gift that is misleading us, that is taking us down towards a dark path, because what happens is the wrong friend can isolate you. You have a friend, you are sitting there with you, but you feel isolated. You feel cut off. You know, they say when they talk about domestic violence, they say one of the signs of domestic violence or you're in a toxic relationship is the other partner cuts you off from your support network. The other partner cuts you off from your friends, from your family. They make you feel alone and they make you feel dependent on them. When you are looking at friends, you have to choose the correct friend. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam says, "Awhashul wahshah qareenu su." The worst type of loneliness is what? Is it, being alone on a deserted island? Is it being in solitary confinement? He says no. He says qareenu su, bad company, a bad friend, somebody who will lead you away from that. During the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a very famous poet that was called Al-Asha. This poet was one of the poets who had written one of they call it Al-Mu'allaqat Al-Sab', which is 7 very eloquent poems in the Arabian times that were like the peak of eloquence, that were the peak of culture and the peak of language, and they were hung up inside the Kaaba. Al-A'sha was one of these people who had written one of these 7 poems. And he lived in an area called Najd, which is in Saudi Arabia. It's not far off Mecca. At one time, he had heard that a new prophet had come out in Mecca, and his religion is the religion of peace. He is teaching people manners, mannerisms, having the highest moral fiber. So he was very interested, and he said, I'm going to go meet with him and have a chat with this new prophet. And if I accept what he says and it makes sense to me, I will accept Islam in this new religion, and I will take up Islam, and I will be there by his side. So the day that he decided to go and meet the prophet and, go off and, I guess, travel by camel or horse for a couple of days to reach Mecca, he met one of his friends. His friend said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to meet this new prophet that they say is in Mecca, and I want to ask him a few questions and maybe take up his new religion. His friend, obviously being a bad friend, this is the bad friend. You are going to do a good deed. He stands up and he says, oh, I've heard about that prophet. Big problem. You're not going to enjoy his religion. Why? He said, number one, in the religion of Islam, adultery is outlawed. You can't commit adultery. Al-A'sha thought about this and he said, this is a really good trait. This is a really good thing to have. I believe in it. It makes sense. His friend thought a bit longer and he said, there's something even better for you. He says, in Islam, you can't drink. Now, it is said he was a person who loved to drink. And during those times, during the time of ignorance, drinking is like drinking coffee. Especially when these people get together on these nights to get the creative juices flowing, they drink and they get drunk and they start to write poetry. So here he thought, he goes, that's not going to work. I love drinking. I can't give it up suddenly. So he says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a year. I'm going to drink as much as I can in advance. And then next year I will go to Mecca. I will meet this prophet. He's not going anywhere. I will meet up with him and I'll take up Islam. Unfortunately, did Allah give him that opportunity? Was he given that opportunity? No. They say in a few months he died. Before he had the opportunity to go and meet the Prophet as he was supposed to, he died. He died as a polytheist, as a mushrik, and as a person who was drinking alcohol. So obviously, where would that person be going? Be going, to hell. So this is the unfortunate thing when you have a friend that leads you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and doesn't support your chances and doesn't look at things the way that they are supposed to be looked at. He takes you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him and his family, says, he categorizes friends in 3 categories. He says, Al-Akhilla'u thalath, companions, there's 3 types of companions. Muwasin laka binafsih, a person who will help you with himself. He's got specific skills, he's got some knowledge, he will support you, he will help you. He's a builder and he needs some work done in your house, he will come along and help you. He has a specific set of skills, he will come out, he will always remember you. He is there for you, that you can rely on him. Number 1. The second type of person is muwasin bimaleh, somebody who will support you with his money. Doesn't have the time to support you or doesn't have the skill. I don't have the skill set to help you renovate your house, but I have money. I have wealth. I am going to give you this money. Here is $20,000. Go fix up that bathroom. Whenever you have the money, pay me back. Muwasin bimaleh. And the Imam says these are the 2 true friends. And then there is a 3rd type of friend. The Imam says, يَأْخُذُ مِنْكَ الْبُلْغَةِ وَيُرِيدُكَ لِلَّذَّةِ فَلَا تَعِدْهُ مِنْ أَهْلِ الثِّقَةِ. This 3rd type of friend is somebody who only wants you for his own joy, for his fun. What are you doing today? I'm going to the majlis. Come over, let's have, I've got the argila, the faham on. Come over, let's have fun. Let's play dominoes. Let's do this. He wants to enjoy his time with you. That's what he's there for. Other than that, when you need his support, he is not there. So the Imam says this 3rd person wants you for his enjoyment. He wants the best of you. He's going to use you. If you have something there for him, he will use that. He wants you for his enjoyment. Other than that, he doesn't have anything else for you. He says this person is not a true friend, and the Imam goes further. He says, do not trust this person. If you have this person in your life, Al-Imam Al-Sadiq says, do not count on this person. So let's look at what makes a good friend. When we're looking at our friends, when we want to see if my friend is a good friend or a bad friend, how do I discern? How do I categorize? Imam Ali alayhi salam comes to help us in this instance. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, خير إخوانك من أعانك على طاعة الله وصدك عن معصية الله وأمرك برضاه. Number one, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, the best of friends, the friends that you want to keep, the friends that you want to find and keep and maintain, are those friends who, number one, is going to bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's going to help you get closer to Allah. When we're having a game of soccer, he's going to say, it's time for salat. When it's time to go to the majlis, instead of sitting down and enjoying our time together, he's going to say, I want you to come along with me to the majlis. He is going to do, he's that kind of friend that will bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number two, he will stop you from sinning. When you say, I'm going to do something that is sinful, he is going to bring you up on that, and he says what? He's going to remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sinful act that you might be carrying out. And then he orders you. It is no shame to order somebody if it's in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He orders you to seek Allah's pleasure and Allah's satisfaction. Imam Ali alayhi salam further on goes, he says, خَيْرُ إِخْوَانِكَ مَنْ سَارَعَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَجَذَبَكَ إِلَيْهِ. Somebody who is very fast. When there is a good deed to be done, he is rapid. When somebody is sick, he's going to call you up. Our friend is sick, let's go and see him. When it is time for Muharram to come along, the Husayniyah, the mosque, the center needs us or needs our help. Let's go. Somebody who is rapid when it comes to doing good deeds. وَأَمَرَكَ بِالْبِرِّ وَأَعَانَكَ عَلَيْهِ. And then he goes on, he instructs you to do good deeds, and he helps you with those good deeds. If there is something good to be done, this friend will be there right next to you, helping you and supporting you. And then Imam Ali alayhi salam continues to describe the best of friends. He says, وَخَيْرُ إِخْوَانِكَ مَنْ وَاسَاكَ. So they don't neglect you. You know, when they say a friend in need, a friend indeed, those people, the best of friends, and I think a lot of people do see it, and this is maybe the one point, is when you are desperate and when you are really in need, that's when they really shine. That's when they come up, when they step up to the plate. That's when they support you and don't neglect you. They feel your pain. They are there with you to support you. And then you know that these people, these friends, this small circle of friends, you can depend on them. If there is something you need, you can depend, no matter how small, no matter how large, no matter what it involves. Sometimes these closest of friends, I have friends, and you may have friends that sometimes you don't tell secrets to your parents or to your spouse, you tell it to your closest friend. These people are there to support you wholeheartedly. And then Imam Ali alayhi salam continues, وَإِنِ احْتَجْتَ إِلَيْهِ أَعْفَاكَ. And then once you need him, there's nothing in return. He doesn't expect anything in return. He is doing it for the sake of the friendship that is between you two. And this is not just Islamic, this is something that's extrapolated. This is an example of how not just a friend that you should keep, but also of what kind of a friend you should be to your friends. Specifically when it comes to your mu'mineen friends, to your Muslim friends, to your friends in religion, more so than your friends out there from everywhere else that you have. So these are the best times of friends. Imam Ali alayhi salam also has a saying, is rahimallahu man ahda liya uyubi, or ilayya uyubi. He goes, may Allah have mercy on the person who gives me my faults. What does that mean if you translate it? If I have a fault, that friend cares so much about me that he's going to bring up his fault. Not in front of everybody else where he's going to embarrass me, but I'm not praying on time. My manners, when he says my manners, or the words that I use, he's going to bring me up on those things. Ahda ilayya uyubi, my faults, he comes and gives them to me and he tells them about me. We have a saying about the Prophet ﷺ, when you see something being done wrong, he says the first thing you should do is من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بفعله. Change it with your action. If you see something being done wrong, change it with your actions. If you can't, change it with your words. And if you can't, change it in your heart. And the Prophet goes on to say that this is the weakest type of Iman. وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. Now we know the best of friends. Now we will look at the worst of friends. According to Imam Ali alayhi salam, what does the worst of friends look like? شَرُّ إِخْوَانِكَ مَنْ زَيَّنَ لَكَ مَعْصِيَةِ اللَّهِ. The worst of your friends, the worst friend that you can keep is the one who beautifies a sin to you. Why are you praying? Unfortunately, there is this movement that is happening. It's don't pray. Allah doesn't need your prayer. Allah doesn't need you to recite the Quran. You know, committing adultery, he makes it, it's not haram. There's nothing there that says haram. You know, this poor girl, this poor boy. Drinking alcohol, unfortunately, even within our community, people that we know. Drinking alcohol, but I'm not getting drunk. It is explicitly said in the Quran. But unfortunately, you look at who they keep as friends, it is those people, and they make it beautify in front of them. You know, it's that peer pressure. It's beautiful. It's tasty. It's something that you will enjoy once you taste it. The worst of friends, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, is the one that makes sin beautiful to you. Wraps it up in a gift and says, here, have it. وَشَرُّ إِخْوَانِكَ. And then another trait of the worst of friends is the ones that are so much work and effort to keep them pleased. They always want you to be there for them, help them, support them, but there is nothing from them. There is no give and take. There is no give and take. And to keep that friendship, you feel exhausted. When this person calls you, it's like, oh no, not this person again. God knows what he wants. Very, very exhaustive person. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, friendship should not be like that. Friendship should be easy. Friendship should be joyful. And friendship should bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, when it comes to friendship, Allahu fi awni al-mu'min ma kana al-mu'minu fi awni akhih. Allah is going to support you and help you as long as you are there to support your friends. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you wealth, that wealth, you have to use it to support your friends. If you see somebody, one of your friends in need of money, support them. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the gift of a trade, support your friends with it. During the time of Imam Zain Al Abidin alayhi salam, there was a poor man that went up to Imam Zain Al Abidin and said, "O son of Rasulullah, I am poor and I've got nothing to support my family with. Help me achieve this." Imam Zain Al Abidin says, there's a stall in the marketplace of Al-Madinah that nobody is using. Here is some money, go and rent that stall out for a year. Oh, the son of Rasulullah, I've got no skills, I've got nothing. Imam alayhi salam, this guy is also lazy as well. He told him, you've got water in your house, go to the river, jug of water and a cup, and sell this water to people. This will bring you money. Imam Zain al-Abidin knows a lot more about what's going to happen. So this person goes, first day, nobody's buying anything. He drinks the water and comes back home. Second day, third day, 6 days, 7 days. He was about to go to Imam Zain al-Abidin and he said, what did you do to me? I'm tired. You know, I sit there the whole day and I've gained nothing. He says, on the 7th day, a caravan came from Egypt. They came to Hajj and they came to Medina, as people do, to visit the grave of a prophet. And that caravan was full of traders. And each one of these traders had an agreement with one of the market stall holders that I'm going to give you my produce or my product, you sell it, and whatever you make, the profit, will split it 50-50. During that caravan, there was a trader that didn't have an agreement with anybody else. Whoever he went to, they said, no, we're full. They said, there's a person out the back, down the street if you want, go to him. He doesn't have any agreements with anybody. He came to him, he said, I've got this product, you sell it, we'll split the product 50-50, and every time I have somebody from Egypt coming to Medina, I will send them, you give them my stake of the money, and if I see that you are trustworthy, I'll keep on dealing with you. They say it wasn't 6 months that he went back to the Imam. He said, oh, son of Rasulullah, my house is full of money. I am wealthy. I don't know what to do with the money. I'm going to buy a horse, a house, whatever they have at that time. Imam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gifted you this wealth. Now you have to support your friends and companions. If there is somebody sick, I'm going to send him to you. If somebody is in need of money, I'm going to send him to you. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a gift, make sure that you support others. من قضى لأخيه المؤمن حاجة قضى الله له يوم القيامة 100,000 حاجة. If you help out a brother in need with one thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you with 100,000 things on the day of judgment. And then he goes further. He says, if you know that your friend has a need and you're able to fill that need, fill it before he asks. This is the etiquette that Islam tells us. I'll end on this before going to the story of the hero of today, inshallah. And what is the etiquette of friendship? And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam says, if you have a friend and you do not see that friend for 3 days, you ask about that friend. If a friend that you have, you don't see them, they don't post on social media, you don't see them at school, at work, you ask about them and find out what is happening. If they are away, pray for them. If they are sick, visit them. And if they are there, go and visit them as well. Now, the visitation for sickness is different to actually visiting a friend. They say if he's sick, visit him for 5 to 10 minutes and then leave. Don't take too long, because then you become a burden on that sick person. Tonight is the night of Al-Qasim alayhi salam, the son of Imam Al-Hasan. Imam Al-Hasan, my brothers and sisters, had 3 sons in the day of Karbala, or with Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. The eldest, or the first one, was Al-Hasan Al-Muthanna, the son of Imam Al-Hasan. In our terms these days, it's Hassan Jr. or Hassan the second, the son of Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam. On the day of Ashura, he fought with Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, and he was injured and he fell on the ground. People thought he was dead. When they were coming around to cut off the heads, they saw that he had life in him. When they found that out, his uncles from his mother's side went up to Umar ibn Sa'd. They said, he's alive, we're going to take him. You're not going to cut off his head. He's alive. He did his due. We're going to take him. He allowed them to take him with them. They took him to Kufa. They gave him medical attention. When he became better, he went back to Medina. The Hassani Sayyids, the Sayyids that trace their lines to Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam, all of them are the sons of Al-Hasan Al-Muthanna, the son of Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam. All the progeny of Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam went through. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to hold the progeny of Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam, and he allowed Al-Hasan Al-Muthanna to survive Karbala. The second son that he had, they say he was about 8 or 9 years old. Maybe a bit younger. His name was Abdullah. On the day of Ashura, after Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam had fallen from his horse in his last moments, Abdullah, the son of Imam Al-Hasan, was being held by Lady Zainab. He was able to get away from her and run towards Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. As the Shumr and the others were about to attack Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, he wanted to defend Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, so he put up his hands towards them, and he said to them, Yabn al-Khabitha, do you want to hurt my uncle? These children, the sons of the Imams, they have bravery from a very young age. When he put up his hand, this Shimr and the others that were with him, they struck him. And when they struck him, his hands were cut off. So he hugged Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam while Imam al-Hussein was on the ground, and he said, "Oh, Imam al-Hussein, they have cut off my hands." He said, "Patience, O son of my brother, patience. You will meet your father and your grandfather very soon, and they will seek revenge for you on the day of judgment." That is the second son. The third son is Al-Qasim, whose night today we celebrate, or today he is the hero of tonight, the 8th night of Muharram. Al-Qasim, on the 10th day of Muharram, when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam was asking his companions and was showing heaven, and was showing all of each and every one of his companions their place in heaven and their palaces in heaven, Al-Qasim went up to him and he said, "What about my palace, uncle?" Imam al-Hussein then sat Al-Qasim down on his knee and he said, "How do you see death?" He's asking him, he wants to test him in the same way that he tested all of his other companions. Al-Qasim, with all maturity and all thought, answered to him, "I see death with you tastier than honey." Back in those days, they didn't have sweets. They didn't have chocolate. The sweetest thing they had was honey. So he said, "Death with you, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, is sweeter than honey." Imam al-Hussein, they say, when Al-Qasim asked for permission to go and fight, Imam al-Hussein refused. He says, "Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam had left you with me to safeguard you. I can't do that. Go back to your mother." So he went back to his mother, and again we come. The heroes of Karbala aren't just men. Women had a massive role. Some women in Karbala, their positions are much loftier than some of the companions of the Prophet. She said to him, "Don't worry, I know what to do." She had a chest with her. She opened up that chest. In that chest, there was the turban of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. She put that onto him. She put on the shirt of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, and she cut it to size so he doesn't seem so young and so small. And then she gave him the shield of Imam al-Hasan and the sword of Imam al-Hasan, and she gave him a letter. She said, "Your father, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, instructed me to give this to you on the day of Karbala." He opened up that letter and it said, "To my son Al-Qasim, if you see your uncle on the day of Karbala, on the day of Ashura, alone, with nobody to support him, then make sure that you do your role and you sacrifice yourself for him." Al-Qasim could not be more joyful and more happy. They say he took this letter, he took the sword and shield, and he went forth to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He said, "Imam al-Hussein, look what I have." He gave him the letter. Imam al-Hussein, when he looked at that letter and he read it, he cried. And he kissed that letter and he hugged Al-Qasim alayhi salam. And he read out those words which gave meaning to Al-Qasim that it was time that he has gained permission from his Imam to go forth and fight. He went and fought. And they say brave, and they say during the battle, as he was running, the shoe that he was wearing broke, or the laces, if we want to say, broke. They say it is a sign of bravery in those times that you do not fight barefooted. So being the son of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam and being the grandson of Imam al-Ali, he would not fight with such a in such a way that they would say it is kind of like cowardly. It is more brave to actually get down, fix your shoe up, and then run. At that point in time, they say there was one of the enemy was standing. He went up to him and he was talking to his companion next to him. He says, "I'm going to disappoint his uncle with him. I'm going to make his uncle, Imam al-Hussein, weep for him." He goes, "Why?" He goes, "I'm going to kill this little boy." He goes, "Isn't it enough all the ones that have died before you?" He goes, "No, I do not want to leave anybody from this family alive." He struck Al-Qasim on his head. Al-Qasim fell to the ground. They say, and he called out for the Imam. The Imam came running to him. He killed the killer of Al-Qasim, and then he was disappointed. He was sorrowful, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He took Al-Qasim to the camp and he laid Al-Qasim next to Aliul Akbar. They say then the women went in to look to see where the Imam was. They couldn't figure out, they couldn't see where the Imam was. When they had a closer look, they saw the Imam was lying there in between Ali al-Akbar and Al-Qasim and weeping. Sacrifices during Karbala were immense by Al-Hussein alayhi salam, that nobody can fathom and nobody can understand, and no matter how many times you read, it becomes greater and greater and greater. And for somebody that gave everything to Allah, we see that when it comes to Ashura, I remember when we first came to Australia in '94, there was maybe 1 or 2 majalis in Sydney. That's it. Today you see there's tens and tens of majalis. Every area has 2 or 3. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Imam Hussein more and more. You see, 24 million people go to visit Imam Hussein's shrine on the Arba'een. This is the greatness. Get to know Karbala, get to know Ashura, and get to know the sacrifices. Inshallah, Allah grants us the honor of visiting the grave of Al-Qasim along with the grave of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam and those companions that gave their life to Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the blessings of visiting the shrine of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam in this life and his intercession, his shafa'a in the hereafter. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.